Alrighty. And we are live? Alright, so Fred.
Defend middle lane! Defend middle lane!
Yes,
Oh, I already
hello.
got it. Is that you with a host?
Yes, it is, Cammy, and I appear to be rather large on your thing there. Might want to shrink the box down a bit
No worries.
because
Why?
I am huge.
Huh? Too big?
Yeah.
Oh my god. Is it way too big that it's hold on, let me see what it looks like because
Yeah, I am huge. Hello, meow meow.
oh, Meow Meow's in there? Okay, I see it. Okay. Jeez. So I don't know what happened. That one? Is that better?
Crazy says just drop the full screen. Ah, there we go.
That's better?
Yep.
Hi, Meow Meow.
Yes, we're totally professional here.
Defend middle lane! Defend middle lane!
But see, that's why I wanted to technically.
Do stuff in advance, yeah, no, but that we couldn't tell on that one.
Okay. Let's see. No, that doesn't help, does it? No. I have no idea.
Okay.
Anyway, Fred, thank you so much for joining, and I'm so sorry about the little mishaps. We're not
That's
perfect.
cool. What happened?
Because we only do this, because as you know, we only do this once a month. This is not like on a regular basis, and thank you guys for joining us today. Hello, Commander Dean. Thank you for being here and showing some love to our very good friend, FredCasden. So, guys, can we post a link on Fred's channel? And as you guys know, Fred is a very good friend of mine that I met through Team MZ. Oh! Oh, that scared me.
Yes, we have a shout out. We have a new subscriber. Yay!
Oh my god.
See, there you go.
Afro,
See?
Afro Jinx, thank you so much for that awesome sub. That scared the living
That's what I'm
daylights
talking
out of me.
about.
Okay, is that what you guys like to do? Just scare me?
Well,
Oh my
yes, that's
God.
part of the fun.
Oh my goodness, Jaina! Holy smokes! So I gotta tell you, Jaina is a friend of mine from World of Warcraft from like a long time ago, and I miss you, by the way, Jaina. We used to do ICC together, so if you guys don't know what World of Warcraft is, I don't know what's wrong with you. But Ice Crown Citadel is a raid back in the Wrath of the Lich King, and Jaina is a good friend of mine from then. And thank you for scaring me, Jaina, and thank you so much for that awesome sub. And I just wanted to introduce you guys to FredCasden as being one of my very, very good friends from Team MZ. And thank you for the follow there as well. Appreciate that. Welcome to the Case Base.
Oh, yeah.
Ooh, do we have a raid? FredCasden, like I said, is from Team MZ. And he and I met because the policy for being a part of Team MZ, hey Orihime, is to, and it's a raid too from Orihime. Thank you so much for the awesome raid, Orihime.
That's a raid from Lady Ocean too.
Yes, and a raid from Lady Ocean.
Yeah, so we wanted to make sure everything was like popping up, and we met through Team MC, and I'll continue that story so Cammy doesn't get too flustered.
Yes.
Team MC is a bit large, and it's easy to get lost, and Cammy and Crazy were kind enough to invite me to join Dare to Stream. And I can safely say, from personal experiences working with all the DTS members, it's definitely been rewarding for me. I have seen the growth. I've seen the immense support both during my broadcast, and off of my broadcast. So again, I wanted to make sure that was stated. And last week, and I'll tell this story real quick. I was thinking that the streamer of the month was going to be Lady Ocean. I was totally tricked. And then when it turned out to be me, I was genuinely surprised. So it's that was awesome. I certainly was not expecting that.
So I'm glad that you were surprised because we've been, obviously discussing the way you become a streamer of the month for Dare to Stream is that you have a constant support system and or like a constant support to you, and that shows how much you support other people. So when you're being hosted, you're being taken, like you're people are coming into your chat and whatnot. That's a great way to show that, hey, you're putting in the work, so you're getting the results back. Obviously, here in Dare to Stream, we are not about one person. We are all about each other. And Fred is definitely someone who is a variety streamer. So he plays different kind of games. So from Star Trek Online to Smite, it's all PC games, by the way. And by the way, guess who decided to watch you again?
Defend
That was Cuckoo. Did you see your tail?
Yes. Lord
Thank you for the
Cuckoo
host.
rules the universe.
Yes,
we all know
she
this. We are
does.
Cuckoo's peasants.
Yes, she does. So actually, and just to, because actually she really likes Fred. So she somehow has this thing where she likes to watch Fred. Like I've watched Fred stream, like just to lurk and just to eat and watch, like how I'm watching TV, and she always likes to come around, and I think that's a sign that Fred is a good person. And guys, make sure we post Fred's Twitter. Hey Valerie, how's it going? Make sure we follow FredCasden because he plays like a whole lot of different games that you guys may truly enjoy. One of the very, very first games that I really connected with Fred was Back to the Future. So that was a long time ago, and that was when I just first joined Team MZ and met Fred. There was really a great connection. And although, Fred and I we stream kind of around the same time, it's always nice to see him for about a couple of hours just to watch, because he's a really, really nice guy. He is so interactive with everybody on his stream, and that's really important for everyone to grow, is because if you don't talk to your audience, because this is your purpose, is to talk to your audience and build a community, in which he does. Like I met a really awesome other person, Fel Kimchi. She plays World of Warcraft, and somehow also F and Dante Savage. We all kind of met all at the same time, and we kind of had that close bond between the three of us. But guys, make sure that you check out FredCasden. That's a twitter.com, but I meant Twitch.
Yeah, that's my Twitter. FredCasden, FredCasden, and generally, for the most part, in terms of like multiplayer stuff, I use the same handle. So if you play Star Trek Online, just look up at FredCasden, and you can find me there. If you play Overwatch on the PC, FredCasden, I forget the number handle for the Blizzard tag. But you'll find me. There's sometimes I would try and jump on there a couple times a week. Same thing with Paladins, Smite on the PC. That is the FredCasden handle. So I kind of keep it uniform. So if you see a FredCasden in a game, 99% chance it's going to be me.
Hey,
and
Nick.
you can also find me that way on Steam as well. And so yeah, if it's a FredCasden for the good chance it's me.
Is all that information, by the way, provided in your info panels?
I really got to add a panel for that. I keep thinking about it, but for the most part, since I don't play a lot, even though I'm correcting that little aspect, a lot of multiplayer games, I never had figured to put that in there, but I should really get around to adding that panel. It's like how folks can find me on different gaming accounts and so forth.
Gotcha. So that would be a really great thing. So if you guys ever want to play with Fred, that's how to reach him. But for the most part, he's super active on Twitch, and he is very consistent with his schedule. So you'll never find him really without a day not streaming, except for obviously everyone needs a break, everyone needs a day off. So Fred, do you are you is this your full-time thing, a full-time gig, or is this something kind of part-time?
No. It's totally part-time, amateurish. Although with the when Twitch initiated the affiliate program last year, I am seeing some slight returns there to where it might be something I could easily split part time with my day gig.
Mm-hmm.
And with what went down with YouTube at the start of the year, thanks to the nonsense involving certain streamers, not streamers, certain individuals doing wrong things, it's like Twitch is definitely becoming more and more my home, even though I still do a lot of stuff on YouTube. So it's
Right, right, right. And you do have a YouTube channel just in case there are times when we would love to watch highlights and, don't feel like going on Twitch, but something, because obviously when you produce content on YouTube, everything is super edited in a sense where it's more of like straightforward, direct. Like if you want to do a highlight reel of bloopers, right? It's all going to be all of that. And,
yep. And editing is something I don't do. But my reviews and everything that I do there is live the hard drive and then up to YouTube. I do zero editing. It's basically me. So it's me straight up. So there is a strong consistency with how I am on Twitch, how I do things on YouTube. The only thing that ends up on YouTube that's edited is just whatever clips or moments I like from a broadcast, I just pop up there.
Gotcha. So one of the questions I do want to ask you, because obviously you are a video gamer, you are now also, a streamer, but what was your first game that you ever played and that you loved so much that made you become a video gamer?
All right, this is going to sound incredibly stupid and lame, and it's also going to show my age. So in a roundabout way, I'll try and keep this answer short, but I have to explain a little bit. I didn't have my first gaming system was not a Nintendo or an Atari or a Sega Master System. It was actually an IBM Tandy 1000 computer, and there were some games for that. And the first game I can recall playing on that a lot was a computer version of Candyland.
I'm gonna tell you, that is very. Yeah, Fred.
Yep.
You young buck, you. Look at this dashing young buck here.
No, but it's but Candyland was the first game on a computer that I can vividly recall playing. Other stuff from around that same time period was like a little game called Digger. It was kind of like in its own way, a Pac-Man clone in its own way, if I remember it correctly. It's been that's been decades since I played that, and also the PC port of the first Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles game that was on the Nintendo, but it got a PC port as well, and I forget what company did the port, but those were like. But the Candyland is the first game, but those were some of the other stuff that I played a lot of back then.
That is actually really interesting because I've heard from my previous experience with the interviews. Some people have said, hey, and not just interview of Stream of the Month, but also interviews for Dare to Stream. People have said, hey, the Atari and Super Mario Brothers or something. I mean, that's going way back. And if you can really see the history of the development from that game itself all the way to what it is now, it's incredible that how amazing human beings are, intellectually. And hello, Mama Shep, hi, Master of Chaos, and Kai and Papa Cheddar.
Hello, everybody.
So, and as you guys know, Fred is a young buck because of that game. Now, what game? Because that's really interesting. The Candyland game on a PC is like.
I guarantee you, no one else is going to give that answer. No one else will even admit to that being like their first game. I guarantee it.
No, but that's really interesting, I gotta say, because I didn't think you'd ever want to play like Candyland or whatever. But you know what? At the time, that's probably a really big thing because I was
young. I was
exactly.
little. I was
young buck.
Again, that's why I would specify what computer it was. IBM Tandy 1000, the ones that we showed at radio, sold at Radio Shack, the ones that ended up in those deep crossover comics with DC, that Superman, and the Tandy, Whiz Kids. Trust me, if you're a comic book fan, you will know what I'm referring to. So yes, that basically tells you I'm ancient in a way.
Don't even worry about that. You want to know why? Because you have so much knowledge that you can share with a lot of us that we know nothing about, which is that one. Now, speaking of comic books, who's your favorite superhero and what favorite comic book is it that you actually really enjoyed growing up?
Growing up, and again, this is going back to the early '90s. My favorite comic book was I guess it would have been like 1991 to 1993 or 90. I forget the exact years. It was the short-lived run of the Justice Society of America, which featured a lot of the Golden Age superheroes, like the original Flash, Jay Garrick, the original Green Lantern, Alan Scott, and so forth. After they were brought back to the DC universe following the events, where they were basically killed off, following the events of Infinite Crisis on Infinite Earths. That's what I was trying to say. So that was my favorite. That's my favorite all-time comic book run. It was only 10 issues, but that's my favorite run. My favorite all-time superhero. Well, I'm by default, because I read a lot of his stuff in the mid to late '90s. I will say Spider-Man,
Yes!
even though I am
Oh, I scared Cuckoo.
not totally thrilled with a lot of the creative direction Marvel has taken that character over the course of the past 15 years. But I liked a lot of the Spider-Man stuff. And my favorite storyline in that, people are going to forget about this, it was Identity Crisis, where Peter Parker took on 4 new personas because circumstances that Spider-Man was considered an all-out villain, and for Peter Parker to do his thing, he had to adopt 4 new disguises for a limited time. And I thought those designs were real cool. So, and that storyline was from like 1998, 1999. So,
And that's obviously the comic books and not necessarily the shows that we see on TV.
yeah, the movies, I did not care for the Tobey Maguire films at
I
all.
gotta say no. I mean, first, okay, can I just say this? And I'm so sorry if you guys are a Tobey Maguire fan. The only reason, one of the biggest reasons, and probably the only reason why I didn't really like the Spider-Man movies is because of the way Tobey Maguire's mouth moved. I could not stand it. I wanted to like walk out and vomit, and I just didn't like the way it was. Just, no.
There are worse reasons to leave a movie that I've heard.
But
I've left movies for much more mundane reasons than that. It was like, so it's totally cool, and I couldn't buy Tobey Maguire as Spider-Man.
I just couldn't.
I'm sorry, Andrew Garfield, I think his name was.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He
I could
was
kind of see
definitely,
that.
yeah. So he had that sense of humor that Peter Parker had, because Peter Parker's kind of like sarcastic, cynical that I get, but he's got that sense of humor that Peter Parker always had. So it was a lot better. But Tobey Maguire was just like kind of very serious and kind of mopey. And then when he started crying and his mouth was moving, that's, oh God, I'm like, please don't cry.
Yeah, that's kind of why they cast Toby for it. Because one thing, and I understand what they were going for. Peter Parker, by and large, is a very depressing, woe is me character. Because it all goes back to the death of Uncle Ben, and long story short, if you look at everything, almost every other issue is Peter Parker saying, "Oh, I should stop being Spider-Man because all I do is get people hurt. But great power comes with great responsibilities." Like, you just want to grab him by the neck, strangle him, smack him on the says, "Man up, dude." That's,
I mean, it's kind of true. It was just really annoying. And do you agree with what Kai just said? So, do you think, because he said that Homecoming, the Spider-Man Homecoming gave Peter Parker and Spider-Man his justice. Do you believe that?
I did not see Homecoming as of yet. I have not seen it. I will admit that. I did like how the character was introduced in Captain America: Civil War, and that they were kind of avoiding the whole origin story because it's already been told twice in the past 15 years.
Mm-hmm.
So eventually I'll get around to seeing Homecoming.
You should. I actually really liked it. It was it really, I gotta tell you, like even the humor, the sense of humor that Peter Parker had originally, I think he got it
Defend
like to a T.
Defend
And yes, Jaina, yes, he was definitely the emo baby, and it's ugh. So
Gotta see people get to see when I point out exactly what's there, what they that they would catch on to it, because being a comic book dork in a way will lead me to point stuff out.
right.
Like that.
Brutal Gus, thank you for the host. Hello, Brutal Gus. How are you doing? We're just talking about superheroes. And then moving on to the next question, now that we know that FredCasden is also a comic book geek, as we would say, I have a question. So, are you a brony? Because obviously you're about the basement pony. Tell me how you got the basement pony and all about,
Yeah,
your
it should
theme.
come. It should come as no surprise. I am a fan of My Little Pony, particularly the Friendship is Magic television show. I've fell way behind on it because of work and streaming and everything of that nature, so I have to catch up. But I like what that show represents in terms of friendship, community. Relying on your friends. So you may have your disagreements, but then they are your friends and so forth. So I kind of like what that represented. Also, I remember the original Gen 1 ponies and how they had a cartoon paired up with the Glowworm cartoon way back in the day. So My Little Pony was something I was vaguely familiar with, and then Friendship is Magic came around. I definitely like that, so I wanted to adopt that. What that franchise, particularly nowadays, what it represents, basically goes translates well to what I try to do with my streaming. Try to be all inclusive in a way, and I do get asked this a lot. Who is the best pony? There's only, in my opinion, there's only two acceptable answers. Rainbow Dash, because she's just 20% cooler than all the rest. But I will begrudgingly admit, Pinkie Pie is the best pony because she breaks the laws of physics. And all you just look on YouTube or just look best of Pinkie Pie, and you will see what I mean.
I've never seen. I've probably seen just a couple of episodes of the newer ones. I was a huge fan of My Little Pony and Friends. I watched it religiously. I also collected the My Little Ponies, the toys, in the 80s, where, it was probably like one of the things. It was Barbies and the ponies, and my aunt
Yeah.
actually was kind enough to buy me whatever sets of ponies came out. But my favorite one was Merryweather. And she was a purple pony with like kind of like a neon green tail, and I don't think she was in the show, but she was a toy pony, and she smelled like, I think it was like vanilla cupcake or something like that.
They did like
She
an
had
aroma.
wings.
They did an aroma line.
Oh, that's
I,
great.
I remember those. My cousin had those.
Oh,
I
that's
didn't have
awesome.
any. Yes, and it was my cousin who had the console. She had a Nintendo, and I did play Super Mario, Legend of Zelda, Super Mario 2, 3, and what else? And a few other games I don't quite recall. So, but my first console, bring this back around to gaming, was the Sega Genesis, and I think
Whoa.
that's in 1994. So.
Yes. So no Nintendo. It was a Sega.
hmm
Sega.
And somewhere in this house, I think it's upstairs, the 2 floors up. I think I still have a box of old Sega games. from what was it? Sonic 2. I had Sonic and Knuckles. What was it? Alien 3, the Ghostbusters on the Sega Genesis.
I remember Ghostbusters. What about Beastmaster? Beastmaster is one of the very first ones that actually came with the system. How do I know? Because I
I,
played
I
it.
I don't think I had Beastmaster, but one thing great about gaming, even though Sega kind of has annoyed me with this, with what they're re-releasing once again, is that if you're on Steam or PlayStation Network or Xbox Store, you see like the Sega Genesis or Master System
Defend middle
collection,
lane.
and you get
Defend
all
middle
the games that Sega
lane.
developed and published. So stuff like Altered Beast I've played, the Streets of Rage trilogy I've played, Fantasy Star, and all those good classes that Sega made. So it's
Um,
so even though I didn't play them back then, I have had the opportunity to play a lot of those classics nowadays.
right. And that's what makes you a really awesome person to watch because you have some retro nights, you have some old school games that you have been able to play. And Viper wanted to ask, and guys, we are gonna have like a Q&A probably within the next few minutes. And for Fred, so you guys want to be able to ask some questions personally. But did you ever have a Dreamcast?
Did I ever have a Dreamcast?
The Sega Dreamcast?
No, actually, because after the Genesis, I did not get a Saturn or 64. It was a Sony PlayStation that was to that I got for a. I think I got that for a perfect attendance for my freshman year in high school. So, like, I made it the entire year without missing a day, and that was kind of like my reward for my pops. And then from there, I became kind of like a Sony fanboy. Like played PS1, PS2, PS3. My PS3 died a couple years ago, and I didn't get a new console because that was about the same time I was starting to get more into streaming, doing stuff on YouTube. So, and now I'm kind of like debating if I want to get a PS4 or an Xbox One.
Xbox One. You'll be
But
then
see,
you'll be able to play with us. Listen
see
to
that's
me.
yes, well, and that's where my internal conflict is. I'm always because if I get the Xbox One, the only thing I'll play on that really is Smite, maybe the
Yes.
Xbox version of Paladins, and any games that may where Microsoft is kind enough where if you buy it on one version, get the other version for free with that. Uh, but then again, I have I have a decently sized, large collection of PS1, PS2, and PS3 games. So if I go with the PlayStation, I at least will have that past investment of catalog that I have there. So that's why I've been putting off going with the console, unless the prices drop even a little further, or I might get both.
Exactly. And that's if it calls for it. I would also get a PS4. I personally don't know what I'd play on it really. I'm so into Xbox One. I've been into Xbox
Yeah,
for
you
so
have
long now.
you have the reverse. You have the reverse.
So I
You,
can
you,
never see anything
yeah,
else.
yeah, because of like whatever games that you have via the Xbox One, Xbox 360, and you can still play those games, I believe, on the Xbox One. Why switch to the PlayStation when you don't have that catalog, that library of games that you already have? So it's
Right.
kind of like, it's like the pros and the cons and
I used to play a lot of WWE games on the PlayStation. The very very first WWE game that I bought was I think it's Raw is War, and then it was WWE. I think it was WWF Attitude because Sable was in it. I
I
was like obsessed,
I I
obsessed.
had that, and first time I played, I didn't have memory stuff I had on the PS1 was like games that didn't require a memory card for any extent. So one day, stayed up all night, play on a Saturday night, played WWF Attitude, unlocking things, going through that career mode, and then walked from where I live, and that's where I live now is the house I grew up, but walked from here to the Cherry Hill Mall, which is a long walk, mind you. I think the equivalent was just like go up and down the Las Vegas Strip, and that's like about a mile or two, like from one end to the other, I
Ooh.
believe.
Did you hear that,
Like,
Crazy?
like I think it's a mile. The strip is about a mile, isn't it? Or
I'm not. Is it? So he's saying that the mall that.
it's a lot. It's like I was trying to like time it out. It's like let me just put it took me a good hour to walk to the mall and then walk back, and then an hour back.
Oh, by
So
the way, guys, hey, Brutal Guts, thank you so much for that awesome cheer bits. I really want to suggest, I want to be able to make sure, guys, save your bits, save your donos. This is all about Fred, and he'll be on live. We're gonna go ahead and do some PUBG, right?
we're gonna do some Smite first.
Smite. Oh, can I? So I get to play too.
Yes.
Okay.
Or we can have you kick when we switch to PUBG. No, you'll probably start your stream before then. I was about to say, yeah, we'll
Oh,
kick.
there's no such thing as that. I'm not a streamer. I'm just here to, I'm just
I
your
know.
interviewer.
Yeah, yeah. It was like I know, but I was like, I was trying to think. Hey, we'll get Cammy to kick crazy off of his PUBG account for a round just to see how she plays.
I am terrible. I already tried it and I died. I was raging and so I stopped because I don't know why. Like maybe because I moved slow, I didn't know where to go. The next thing I know, I get shot all the time and I'm like, "Oh."
Yeah,
Okay.
well, I played with Commander Dean and and Lady Ocean, Miss Kate, and it's more of like of just running. I always play it for the more as like, okay, let's see how long I survive, and if I play with others, it's even better because you can have a lot more fun, a lot more comedy. So that's associated with that. So that's playing that game alone is not as fun as playing. I highly recommend folks, and this is my personal preference. Don't play PUBG alone. Play with friends.
That's what I
Because
did. I played
because
alone because I didn't want to tell anybody. I'm just like, I'm just gonna go in
because
there,
then if you play with
practice.
friends, no matter what happens, you you will it's all funny. And no matter what happens, no matter how good you are, no matter how bad you are, the comedy of errors makes PUBG worth playing when playing with a group. And I discovered the same thing when I tried the Forest last week, playing with Commander Dean and Lady Ocean. So same thing. It's more like those games don't play by yourself. Play with your friends on those, and that like Smite you can play alone. Paladins you can play alone. Overwatch, most MMOs. But there is a genre of games, PUBG, the Forest. I'm assuming Fortnite, which is the same way, and I have to get around to playing that at some
Right,
point,
right.
or at least trying that. Those type of games are better, where you can just laugh at just what happened.
Cap said, well, that's Shep said, friends don't let friends play PUBG though. Because you get shot like the moment you get there. Like I was just I had no armor, nothing. And
Yeah,
I'm like, I haven't even left I don't know.
yep,
Like,
exactly. So so that's definitely uh my big gaming suggestion there in terms of how to play something and get some enjoyment. Because I'm terrible at it. I think I've only shot the gun in PUBG twice, maybe three times in my time playing it. And I'm not going to invest hours to get better in it, but I play it more for just the comedy than anything else.
exactly. And I think that's what makes it really, really fun. And, guys, we're all about collabing in the group. And we've been able to accomplish so much. And Mistreated says she can only stop in for just a little bit. Mistreated has been actually around for a really long time. Part of, being one of the very first streamers and friends that I met when I first
Nice to
started.
meet you, Mistreated.
Yeah, so Mistreated, FredCasden, Mistreated. Hey, Curiosity, thank you for the host as well. Thank you guys for obviously joining us and just being super amazing, showing some love to this amazing, amazing friend of mine. Now, another thing too, with or without a mullet, We want to see that mullet.
Okay, I want to have to take. No, there's no way you won't be able to hear me clearly with it, but and I won't be able to say you able to say, but it is growing back a bit, right? And that's where Cammy crazy for saw me when I had a full, literally a full mullet, bullshitted out, and the reason, and I, and the reason why I cut it is got a little bit too tough to maintain, but I do actually grow my hair out and trim, and I cut my own hair in the style of a mullet for the most part. I don't touch the back for several months. So it doesn't always show because it grows down the back first
Mhm.
and then bushes out. But in terms of the front and the sides and everything, I keep that looking fairly normal. But I've always had a ponytail for the better part of the past 10 years. So and when I chose to cut it off at that time, much to Crazy's disappointment, more than anyone else's, was it got a little bit too hard to maintain at the time.
You're not supposed to maintain the back. I thought it was all business. Is it party in the front? No, it's the other way around.
It,
Business in the
it's
front, party in the back. Like you can't
yes.
maintain the party.
Well, here's the thing, Cammy, you have long hair, and and I see how roughly how long your hair is. My hair at the time when I chopped it off, that was down like 10 inches from the back of my neck down to the middle of the back. That was 10 inches worth of hair that I had down the back. So that uh, you
That's
needed
awesome.
that needed to go, unfortunately.
I know we were crazy on a genuine note. It was actually really sad when you did kind of trim it down and whatnot. But yeah, so Jana says business
Yeah,
in the front, party in the back. The skullet? What the hell is a skullet now?
skullet is basically if you're bald on top and have it long in the back.
Skullet. Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
And thankfully, I come from a family that has, well, except with my on my dad's side, but I get my hair thankfully from my mother's side, where have great hairline.
That's super awesome. I'm like really, I'm enjoying this interview. I think that is like really awesome how you have a great sense of humor and guys, it takes a while to like really tick off Fred. I think he's such a complacent person and you stop laughing at him. But he loves you, Fred. He thought that like you like what is this
What?
frisking, dusting your
What the?
hair?
Oh, the flicking of the hair.
Yes.
But don't mess with the hair, huh? Come on, it's like the appreciation of great hair. We all inspire everyone who has great hair to maintain their great hair. That was the character of Uncle Jesse on Full House.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you. And actually, Uncle Jesse has like and it was a mullet, right? It started off as a mullet, and then I don't know, he had to go with the times, and he was still a good looking guy even with the mullet. So, he was just it's Uncle Jesse. Yeah.
But there you go. It's like sometimes you have to adjust the hair for as time goes on. But in my case, I am growing my hair out in the back long again. So eventually, it'll be back to full proof.
We love that. We love that idea. And I know you got to start your stream soon, so we're gonna end it real quick. However, let's take some questions. If you guys had any questions that you posted before,
Yes,
and I apologize.
fire.
Please don't feel ignored. Please don't feel ignored. I just
Yeah,
because this is
I've been
so
keeping.
small.
I've been glancing. I've been actually watching the chat. Anytime you see me glance to the right, I've been looking at the chat. So I was also wanting to time in for less. Any questions? Fire away, folks. So let's see if we get anything in there. And
Bye, Mistreated. Thank you so much for the follow for FredCasden. Guys, make sure you are shooting this amazing person a follow because of all the reasons that I just said, like very many times during this interview and many times that he's come into my stream to say hello
yes,
and it's a good relationship that we do have. So
what was that?
I
Totally
just
try to have an Elvis vibe going on.
yes.
Wise men say
I love that song, just so
only
you know.
fools. Is there any game as a kid you wanted to play but never got to play?
Awesome question, Lady Ocean.
Tried just about everything that was on the Super Nintendo. More than anything else, I've never played, or even in the arcade because it never had it. The Final Fight series, which was kind of like Capcom's version or inspiration for Sega's Streets of Rage. I've never played Final Fight. I've never played any of those games. I'm
Wow.
familiar with the characters of Hagar, Cody, God, because they ended up Poison, Hugo, Rolando. They ended up in the Street Fighter series, but I've never played any of the Final Fight games. And I know they were on the PC, on the Super Nintendo things. Let's see.
Final Fantasy 7 or 8? Viper would like to find out.
8, 8, and I'll tell you why. Better, the soundtrack is better. Getting around the world is a hell of a lot easier. And I actually beat 8 at one point in time. I actually beat 8 multiple times on PS1. 7, I understand what they were trying to do, getting around there, but navigating and getting around on the world map on Final Fantasy 7 is such a pain in the tuchus. It gets not worth the aggravation is the word I'm trying to say here. Riddler or Kingpin, Commander Dean? Depending on the generation, if we're talking current day, Riddler. If we're talking old school, like 70s, 80s, Kingpin.
Ooh, okay.
Serious question: a matter of life and death, pie or cake? Uh, Pie.
Better say cake. Oh, he said pie.
Well, the cake is a lie.
Is it?
There's a
Lying that it
reference.
doesn't make you have stomach aches and I don't really care. I don't care if I become like,
Well,
as long as I'm happy with that cake.
yes. Well, I'm in the
I
word
have a
tasty
man
cake.
already anyway. He ain't gonna leave me even if I was 700
Well,
pounds.
I'm in an area where
You
it's like
will? Oh, he
tasty
said
cakes
no.
come out of Philadelphia, and even despite the name, one of the best things if you never had anything, the food brand Tasty Cakes, their apple pies, the lemon pies, lemon meringue pies things. They're generally about 75 cents to a buck. Delicious. There was another question that came up here that I missed here.
Let me read back. Did we miss a question?
Crazy ass. Do you wish to develop your own game or design one? I wouldn't mind. I actually had
Good
over
question.
the years a few concepts in my head, like where I see certain games and how they don't fit like the genre that they ended up in and how they could be adapted to something that would have been a little bit, in my opinion, better suited for that. And I often see this more with um some action adventure games where they kind of just go for the straight more action side, but they could have benefited like with the RPG element, uh, where there would have been a little bit more customization instead of just like straightforward all action all the time. The remake of Bionic Commando sticks out in my mind as something that was nearly straight action all the way through, and it really could have benefited with that bionic arm that the lead protagonist had in it, and the story they put behind it is like, okay, they could have customized, the player could customize that a little bit more for a lot more variety.
Right, right.
There was a okay, so
King Pharaoh
no,
wants a song request. Gary, come home. Um,
I don't
let's
know that
see.
one.
Hulk
Uh,
Hogan or Ric Flair? Cap wants to find out. That's Shep's son. I just called him Cap, but
uh, there is a good question there. All right, if we're talking in terms of national expansion and being a drawing card, like putting butts in seats for a bigger period of time, uh, Hulk Hogan. But at the same time, Ric Flair is without question the better performer. And I one could argue this, and in terms of the stylistic differences between the WWF with Hulk Hogan and the old Jim Crockett Promotions NWA, WCW with Ric Flair, even though Hulk Hogan went down to WCW. When the WWF, now E, bought WCW in 2001, there used to be roughly about 7 million wrestling fans that tuned in every week to watch either Raw or Nitro. After that buyout, half of those people stopped watching wrestling cold turkey because they did not want to watch the WWF programming. So it's so there you go. There is a big difference in what those two represented. There was another question. Lady Ocean fell asleep at the wrestling talk.
Well, I'm a Hulk Hogan fan. I've always liked his
No,
brand.
both are great. Both are great.
And whatnot. They're both great. I just think that the aspect of wrestling, I think more along the lines of sports entertainment, I think was Hulk Hogan, and Ric Flair was more on a really
Professional
all about,
wrestling.
Yeah, professional wrestling. Although Hulk Hogan did start off, he was Sterling Golden, and I know it's a boring thing, but I'm a huge wrestling fan.
No, that's
Let's not
actually
talk about Sable, guys.
I could tell a story about Sable that will definitely make a person's toes
Okay.
curl. But I would say this as a wrestling fan, Sable, not exactly the nicest person to the fans at meet and greet. You want to talk about someone who is totally disinterested and put in the work necessary for the position. She basically got on her looks and looks alone. So one time I had a chance, and this was obviously going back to the early 90s when sort of 97, 98-ish.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like and a lot of the WWF appearances were more in the Northeast because
Exactly,
that's where they were based out of. And so meeting Sable, you want to talk about someone who is just disinterested in the fans, couldn't care to be there for the fans and everything. So it's like I went in line and saw that. I was a teenager at the time. I was like, this lady. And left. The only other person that I saw in wrestlers that I've met like that, Stacy Keibler, was along the same line. Just couldn't care about the fans.
In Sable's defense, as you know, she is currently the wife of Brock Lesnar. She was Rena Marrow, who was married to Mark Marrow at the time.
Johnny B. Bad.
Yep, and marvelous Mark Marrow. Now the reason why, and in her defense, she in her autobiography, which I do have somewhere, she did say that she was kind of forced into the role. She wasn't trained to be a wrestler, and she was getting hurt. But that was the only way that she was able to make money because Vince McMahon didn't really care for Mark Marrow anymore. That's why he was kind of, he became. They got a divorce because she became the more known one. But it was almost like she had to keep doing it. And around circa 97, 90, 98, 99, 99 was when she was getting bullied because, and as many people. And personally, I've had that experience where people say things about you because hey, you know what, you're the top dog because of certain things that happen, and some other people don't get the recognition. But I mean, and I'm not saying this because it's a lesbian tendency or anything, but she was hot. Okay, like I would have wanted to look like that.
Well, there was her catchphrase at the time: "All the women want to be here, all the guys want." With her,
for all the women who want to be me, and for all the men who
come to see me.
I'm not gonna do the dance. Come to see me. That's what she says. And
you know what, and Lady Ocean had a question there.
Sure.
Girl wrestling or guy wrestling? Well, here's an analysis for you folks in terms of how I stand as a wrestling fan. Men's professional wrestling has gotten incredibly hokey and more stunt worky over the years. The lady wrestlers are the ones who actually rely on in-ring psychology and have the better matches. And I will say this on virtually every NXT takeover since its that inception, the best matches on every single takeover special, with the exception of maybe one which totally tanked, was the women's matches. So, without question, because you had more of a story arc, more of investment in the characters, and the women, the performers, played their characters into the matches. They were less of a stunt show.
Right.
So, in comparison to what we see with the men these days, and which, because the girls now are doing everything that the guys were doing 20 years ago, and the guys are just flying around doing things that just make me go, Bruiser Brody would have beat the hell out of Kevin Owens for wanting
You
to do half
remember
that
Bruiser
stuff.
Brody? I love you, Fred.
Like,
so
was
sad
like,
what happened to him. God rest his soul.
yeah, and I'm surprised that WWE put Carlos Colon into the Hall of Fame, considering his connection to that. But that's another story for another day.
Yep.
So yeah, but yeah, I can talk wrestling all day long. But anybody else have any other questions? So this way.
Because yeah, we gotta get Fred's stream started in the next.
Yeah,
but
and as I told Cammy, I knew this was going to go longer than 30. So.
I know. I'm surprised, but I think we had a lot of connection. But Horseman versus DX.
Horseman all day long, and I'll give the quick explanation as to why the four horsemen were quote unquote the first true stable that created stars. You look at the original horsemen: Flair, Arn, Ole, Tully, and then when Ole left because he was too old, they brought in Lex Luger. That made Luger. Then what was it? Barry Windham. That helped cement. Barry Windham was already a top tier guy, but cemented Windham. Sting got the Horseman boost. Who am I forgetting? Psycho Sid Vicious, Sid Justice. He was a horseman and went on to do big things. But he with that size and look, there was no way Sid wasn't going to be a huge star.
Humongous.
Paul. Yeah. We'll skip Paul Roma. Brian Pillman was a horseman, and unfortunately, his career was that car wreck and his unfortunate death cut short what he could have done.
I know, really sad.
Who am I forgetting? Dean Malenko had some great success.
Benoit.
Yeah, there's a.
I know that's.
There's a loaded one. Steve Mongo McMichael, and I actually like Mongo as a horseman. I thought he was a great fit.
He's great.
And most people don't consider this one a horseman, but he's more of a horseman than Paul Roma ever was. JEFF, haha, JARRETT. Jeff Jarrett, one of the, in my opinion, is one of the most underrated in-ring performers of all time. He came in a generation too late. If his prime was in the 70s and early 80s to the late 80s and the 90s, Jarrett would be a lot more respected as an in-ring talent than he is. So, and of course, without Jeff Jarrett, there is no AJ Styles. There is no Bobby.
Right, because that's TNA. That was all him.
There is no Eric Young. There is no...
because no one was really looking at
Look who's on the WWE roster now. Look how many of those guys had their careers basically made working for Jeff Jarrett.
Yeah, because no one, it was like, ROH, I call it ROW. Technically there was really, as an independent circuit, sure, if you're really into like the really, like just like how ECW was the back end of everything at the time where WCW and WWE.
Literally the back end.
Yeah, so it's like.
And I say that, and I've been to the ECW, and you want to talk about a toilet. There you go.
And the thing is, it's just that was what it was, and Sanjay Dutt was actually one of my favorite wrestlers from Raw, and I really enjoy that. Bryan Danielson, that was, that's Daniel Bryan here now in WWE, where he retired, and that was all something he wanted to be. But they're great, But I do want to conclude. Dawn Universe and JPW. So what I'm gonna do, guys, because I know we are gonna talk about wrestling all day long, because that's like my thing. I'll always talk about old school wrestling and whatnot. But I'm gonna go ahead and let Fred set up his stream. We should be back in just a few moments. So guys, what I am going to do is I'm gonna go ahead and end the interview. And I apologize for taking so much of your time, Fred, but I had the best time.
Cammy, it's not a problem because I know how I can talk, so I knew we were going to need the extra time, and obviously we probably didn't touch on 1/10 of what we could have talked about.
No, we didn't. All the questions that I had just flew out the window. But I hope that you guys were able to learn a lot more about Fred, as I did, and I actually had no idea that he was a huge wrestling fan, as I've known him for almost a year, if not a year already, actually.
About a.
It's gonna be about a
It
year.
will be about a year by the summer for sure. But anyway, folks, if you're coming over to I open my channel, broadcast up with a song almost every time, and Cammy, I'm gonna give you a choice for what I'm gonna with tonight. I was like either something by let's see, the Beach Boys or something by the Cars. I'll obviously pick something.
You know what?
You just pick the band.
The Beach Boys sounds like a lot of fun. I love the Beach Boys.
So when you come over to my channel, when I start, we'll have a song, and I'll be opening up my broadcast tonight with Smite, and then later on we'll do again Smite on the PC. We'll do some PUBG on the PC as well. So I hope to see everyone there at various points. Drop in, say hello, and we'll catch you on the flip side in just a few.
And tell you what, if you want to go ahead and turn on your stream without your face cam, if you want to show your highlight reel, your Be Right Back screen, so I can go ahead and raid you and bring over all these amazing people that showed up today to support you. Guys, save your bits until you get there. All your donos, all your love, your hosts. Guys, make sure you host FredCasden the moment we raid him, because, like I said, this is all about Fred and his accomplishments and all his hard work as a streamer in general, and for all the things he's done for Dare to Stream and for the Dare to Stream team. That's every single one of you guys. So if you don't know who he is, then I don't know what's wrong with you. That's what I got that from Brutal Guts, actually, when he's like, if you're not following Commander Dean, then I don't know what's wrong with you. But that's thank you so much, guys, for being here and interviewing FredCasden. And we shall go to FredCasden's basement in just a few minutes. So I'll allow you to go ahead. Yeah, but my stream
is starting, folks. So we'll see you there.
Thank you, Fred. All right. So I'm super like happy about about that, because I think that was really very important that we have some time to get to know everybody here in our group, and as you guys know, that we do our streamer of the month. I know, I'm talking to them. I'm gonna go ahead and host. Is he on? Do you see my cuckoo? Cuckoo. What is this? How do I do this? What if I wanted pink? Oh, I didn't know you could change colors. Okay, but anyway, guys, thank you so much, Jana. And you know what? I am so happy to see you. So is Fred on? So what I'm gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and transfer over to FredCasden. Let me just open up a window for him here, because he's an amazing person, and you guys know how much I truly appreciate, love, and want to make sure everybody's taken care of. Let's see, FredCasden. So I'm gonna go into his channel first, so that we have that. Okay, guys, let's go ahead and do the raid. I'm typing on the phone, so raid FredCasden. I will see you guys at FredCasden's awesome stream. I will be joining as well to play some Smite, even though I think I am not very good at Smite PC at all. So, yeah. come it's not? Oh, sorry. There we go. So I'll go ahead and turn off the stream and everything will be